hopefully if we can get the recording started. Anyone who is on camera, just so you know, this is a recording we will be keeping, possibly using in the future. So if you do not want your face in the recorded session, please turn your camera off. Thank you. Um, and with that helpful small break, let's move to question 3, which I think ties very well to the end of question 2 that we were just going over. So, when the anti-trans hate hits you or someone you love, where do you feel it first, and how do you answer it as a two-spirit person? I'm going to send this over to Jordyn to answer first.
Okay. Um, First, I feel it in my chest. Like I feel like boiling anger when I see someone that I love who's trans being like I've had trans friends who like when they get misgendered out in public, they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like that person, I'm never gonna see them again." I'm like, "What do you mean don't worry about it? I'm gonna worry about it. Like I am telling this person like, hey, you mean she? Like I'm gonna correct someone, and if someone's being very blatant in public, like it does bother my skin, but then I feel sad about it. And I think like that person is just uneducated and maybe is, has a lot of hate in their body that they're projecting towards other people. So I just try to answer it mostly with like kindness and dignity. I know I can get a little bit sassy sometimes, I want to say in my responses. But I know like even as a person who sometimes can't stand up for their own good, I'm very good at standing up for other people. And I think the best way to answer it is just like first correct, and we're stronger in numbers, but you should never put yourself in harm's way. That's also a thing. Like don't like go off and start trying to get in the face of some like 6'5" butch bodybuilder who's coming at you, because that's probably not going to end well as someone who's 135 pounds and short. So you gotta like mind your situation, but also never always stand up for yourself. Like don't ever just brush it to the side and say, oh, it doesn't matter, because it does matter. And we need to be more vocal about it. And when our allies are standing up there together with us, calling it out in the grocery store and saying, hey, that's not okay. That is allyship. And we should be doing that for each other too. Like, we all do that as Indigenous people. And I think just as the wider community, we should always be calling out hate. And that's what I do when I see hate, is call it out.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. Please do not put yourselves in harm's way. Obviously, as Jordyn said, stick up for yourself, but pay attention to your surroundings and have an exit plan in any situation. Um, I'm gonna pass this over to Aja. So, Aja, when the anti-trans hate hits you or someone you love, where do you feel it first, and how do you answer it as a two-spirit person?
Yeah, so when I come across like anti-trans hate, it just like Jordan, like it hits me in the chest, like it hits me like all through my body. Like I get boiling mad, like I get so upset because like as like an indigenous person, like we know that like these lands have had two-spirit and LGBTQ plus peoples living here for thousands and thousands of years. So I just get really upset that like people can just be very like ignorant. Like I just get so upset. So yeah, like I um Yeah, and like the thing is, like I also stick up for like everyone that like I love and people I don't even know like on the street who are not indigenous and like even myself, like I'm a big auntie, so like I don't like I get so upset and I will try to educate people, but to be fully honest, sometimes I'm not like the greatest and I like hit them back with ignorance, but in a very I try to be kind as best as I can, but like it's very difficult when like people are like attacking like fundamentally who you are. So yeah, like I remember this incident that happened the other day. Like there is a lot of talk about like washrooms and like trans women being able to use the bathroom, and like I was with my niece for the parade that we have in our city, and I I really feel it internally. This is what I'm trying to say. Like sometimes like I feel like hate and stuff internally because like I get scared. Like I don't use the bathroom when I'm in public, but like the fact is that like my niece really needs to use the bathroom and I'm like, "Oh my God, like my husband can't take her. Like I need to take her." So I like really just got up and like went in the bathroom and I was like, "I'm going to take up this space. I don't care." So yeah, like and just I guess like the way that I really confront hate is like by sticking up for myself and sticking up for other people around me and really trying to educate people that like, trans people have been here for a long time. And like, I don't identify as two-spirit myself. I identify as the Gokwe, which is actually an ancient rule that Anishinaabe people have had for thousands of years. So like I try to educate them through that lens because I do see that a lot of people are like, well, two-spirit's only been around since 1990. Like they came up with it and someone came up with it and they all said, okay, that's what we're gonna be called. But like, like no, like we've been here for thousands and thousands of years and we've had roles and we've had responsibilities for as long as our people have been here. Like our creation story talk about two-spirit people. Like so yeah, like I try to educate as best as I can. And if not, I'm just mean. But yeah, miigwech.
Miigwech for that answer. I think it's very relatable that sometimes it's mean when people are being disrespectful to you. I think it's very much a kindness and a gentleness to respond kindly. And obviously, sometimes when you respond from compassion, people respond better to that without escalating the situation. But also, sometimes people need to be hit with the hard truth that they're being cruel and mean. And there's nothing like sometimes they need that a little bit so they can feel in their own hearts that pain. Just a little bit. Not advocating for it necessarily, just saying very understandable, very valid, and nobody is 100% perfect with the perfect response all the time. We're only human. Daniel, where oh, when the anti-trans hate hits you or someone you love, where do you feel it first? And how do you respond?
Well, I feel it probably in the same spot that Jordyn and Azha said. Definitely the chest. I feel it in the chest and I like in the soul, and then like it just really takes like a shot at you, and like whether it's directed at me or even somebody who I don't even know. It just really just gets me like upset. It gets me mad. It gets me sad. Like it just really just like I don't know, just makes me and this makes me mad. Like a lot of times I see it a lot in the media. I see it a lot like happening in other places. And like it was and even now just thinking about it just makes me really just like upset about how much anti-trans people there are in this world and how much things are against us. Um um and it's just really like what's that word I'm looking for? It's just really like defeating, you know. Um, Although I do have to admit that I don't stand up for myself as much as I should. Um, I actually am like I when somebody misgenders me, I am scared to speak up. And I think that scaredness comes from scared that I'm gonna like they're gonna like throw hatred at me. Like I think like I'm not strong enough to be like, no, it's actually he, and like, and I, basically just standing up for myself. It's easy for me to stand up for other people, like I'm able to stand up for other people, but I can't stand up for myself for some reason. And it's, um, sometimes I try to, but I think my like fear stands in more in the way, and it's like stronger than my courage right now. um um but I know that I need to gain that backbone to be able, to do that for me. And um yeah, I yeah, it just really like it just makes me disappointed in myself in a way, because I'm just like I feel like I should be able to do this. I should be able to stand up for who I know I am, who I like, I'm proud to be trans. Like I'm proud to be, in this community. And it just feels really disappointing to myself that I can't do that. Like I yeah. And it just I hope that this will be able to help me to gain strength into like to be able to do that. And seeing how, Azha and Jordyn are able to stick up for themselves, and they're like, they're able to be like, I'm gonna take up space. I need to do that. I need to learn how to do that. And I know that. And it's definitely something I'm gonna be working on more. And yeah, because like right now, just seeing Jordyn and Aja say that they do that, it's giving me some motivation and like more strength to actually do it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That was really incredible. I think a lot of what you said really, really reminded me almost of when I was younger. I too struggle to correct people who misgender me. Even in my professional life, sometimes I struggle to correct people who misgender me, because of that fear. And it does take a lot of courage and time to learn to stick up for yourself and that community support. So I do hope that through this and through the remainder as you go forward, that you gain that support and that foothold in being sure. And I think it's courageous enough just to exist. Going the added mile of sticking up for yourself um, is so hard. It's so hard. So try not to beat yourself up too much about not being ready for that yet, because that's totally okay too. Um, yeah. So moving forward with our last question. Um, if I'm going to direct this to Aja. If you had to sum up the vibe right now in 2025 for two-spirit and trans people in Canada, especially in northern regions and in Indigenous communities, how would you describe it? What would you say? What are things that you're worried about, and what are things that give you hope as you look forward? And I will be copying that into the chat.
Yeah, like I would just sum it up as like scary. Like it's very scary to exist as a trans indigenous person in all around Turtle Islands, like regardless of like up north, south, east, west, like America, Canada, like it's just very like scary to exist right now. I feel like there's a lot of like anti trans hate that's going on and like anti-trans bills and stuff. I feel like yeah, it's really scary, but like on the flip side of that, like I do see a huge emergence of like people coming out and being their authentic selves. Like I have like a really good like I'm really fortunate enough to see so many young people, and like it's so beautiful to see everyone like doing good things, doing good work. Like, I was just with one of my elders, Charlotte Nolan, and also from hearing from Gail Pruden a lot, like, like the generation that came before us, like a couple generations that came before us, they did not have what we have, and they fought so hard for us to be able to be here. And like just like the fact that like now we are able to be in spaces. We're able to do things such as this, and like we're able to really use our voices now is just really hopeful. Like I try not to dwell on all the negativity that's around us because I see such beauty and such like um exciting things for our future that like it doesn't to me like I feel like this won't really affect me because like I would be able to I'm strong enough to push through all of this anti-transness and like really be who I am and take up space and like really be that like big auntie and that role model for other trans people and like, especially our younger ones to like be able to be who they are and like love who they are. So yeah, like I feel fortunate right now to be a trans person in 2025, even though like the media likes to really say that like bad things are going on and like, like our rights are being taken away, which is valid. Like our rights are trying to be taken away. Like, we have so much like things that like our ancestors like a couple generations ago did not have. Like we're so lucky. And I count myself as lucky. Like, like I very much try not to dwell on that, on the negative, and just look towards the future and the positive. Like my nieces and nephews are going to be able to grow up in like a loving place and like they're going to be able to grow up and be who they are. Like one of my nieces and nephews, like they are showing signs of being trans and like the fact that they can grow up in a future where they're going to be honored for who they are and like they'll be able to have the knowledge of that has been in our communities for thousands of years. And like that's what keeps me going, like is that the future is really bright for us. Like I really believe that we're going to take up space and that things are going to move forward in a positive way. We might have hiccups here right now, but like our voices are stronger than the ones who hate us, and our allies are stronger than the ones that hate us. Like we've shown that time and time again. Like we'll always be here and we'll always survive through anything that life throws at us, whether it's colonization, whether it's genocide, whether it's erasure, whatever it is. Like we're strong enough to get through it. And yeah, miigwech.
Miigwech for that. Thank you, Aja. Now I'm going to direct this question back to Daniel. So, Daniel, when you think of the vibe right now in 2025 for Two-Spirit and trans people in Canada, especially in northern communities, what do you have to say? What are things that you're worried about, and what are things that give you hope as you look forward?
um well, I'm not so educated in Canada as a whole. I'm more so like know a lot about like the area that I'm in at the moment with um with the vibe. um for I know that in my like home community, and probably a lot of other communities, um, they a lot of them are very like religious based, and I know that sorry. I um but so let me just I need to get my words in order. um like in my home community, they're still very religious based. They're a lot of the older folks are still very like into the teachings of the Bible. So I know that um a lot of them don't like see us as like people. Um um and like I know that like a lot of people, I know a lot of like little like res kids, like I know a lot of them don't feel safe enough to actually come out a lot because they're scared of what, a lot of their adults will think, because it's not so open in the northern communities as it is like more so in like bigger cities. Um and I do know that it's getting better, which that's like making me hopeful. I know that there are lots of young kids coming out like to like Sulakout and Thunder Bay from up in the northern communities, and and are proud in their identities, which makes me hopeful for our up north communities, because I know that some adults are listening, and I know that, you know, with time and education, we can possibly open up these northern communities to be more accepting and more, you know, um, open to the LGBTQ community. Um, and yeah, um, yeah, sorry, I had a whole thing, but I think I just got a little nervous. But that's basically what I had. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Aja, for participating. It was wonderful to have you, and we were grateful to have you here. Um,
Yeah, Aja, I will reach out to you after this event. We do have gifts on behalf of the Anishinaabe Friendship Center in Sioux Lookout for the panel speakers and moderators. So I will be in touch with you on that after, Aja.
Amazing. And that brings us to Jordyn to answer our last question here about summing up the vibe right now in 2025 for Two-Spirit and trans people in Canada, especially in northern communities. In your community, what do you have to say? What are some things that you're worried about, and what are some things that give you hope as you go forward?
Oh my God, this is such a loaded question. I know I chose all the questions and like I didn't even think about them beforehand either. So, um, like right now, I feel like as a two-spirit community ourselves, we're doing pretty good holding each other up, but our communities need to do better. They need to step up and start supporting us more. Like the weight that I have felt on my shoulders being one of the sole two-spirit trans people in Treaty 3, pushing and fighting endlessly for the last 2 years directly in these communities, has the burden it carries to like whether it was in my job at Laxul and with youth dealing with suicidalness, or like being out doing all the advocacy work. Like you'll all notice I had to slow down for a bit because it was getting so tough on me carrying the burden of going out and trying to push and educate everyone. Um, and that's the thing. There's so much education that needs to be done in our region right now. There's so many things that need to be worked on. Our communities, they need, it's more than just a BCR being signed for Two Spirit Awareness Day. It's chief and councils showing up to these events, coming and supporting their members, signing BCRs, supporting our healthcare. Something I guess really big that I can share in this moment now in our treaty that does give me hope is that myself and Mallory McConomy from Grand Council Treaty 3 worked on a very big consultation project. And it's not the one we worked on, Katrina. Um, it was another report that we had written, and I went and I surveyed all 33 communities in Treaty 3 and asked Indigenous, trans people, Two-Spirit people what they needed on their health care, and put together a 25-page report on the like what we are lacking for trans healthcare and services up in our region. And that bill was passed unanimously. Well, the resolution was passed unanimously by all 33 chiefs in Grand Council Treaty 3. And they have promised to put more money into trans healthcare funding and research and education and training into the communities to bring in more qualified physicians for trans people within our communities up in here. And that gave me hope to know that something I had put so much of my heart into had I was so worried. I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be so many chiefs that vote against this. And like to know it was passed unanimously, that does give me hope. But that's just a signature on a paper. I want to see action from these 33 chiefs now. These 33 chiefs that have put that onto paper and now say it is the law, I want to see it happen in our communities. And if that takes me and Katrina and everyone else we work with going into every community and pushing, I will do that endlessly for the next until I die. Like I will fight to make sure that we have safe spaces in our indigenous regions with the great team of people we have together for this. That being said, we do have to go into the next time zone. We've got 3 minutes, but I will just deep dive quickly. This is something Katrina and I did work on together with Grand Council Treaty 3. I wasn't able to get these resources downloaded online right now, but if you are in Treaty 3, there, I'm gonna have to turn the blur off of my camera. If you are in Treaty 3, you will be able to find these three pamphlets in multiple health centers across Treaty 3, friendship centers, and many places. There are supports and resources for our region. So if you do see them, or if you want copies of these for your offices, please reach out to either Katrina or I. We both have, I can personally deliver them pretty much anywhere between here and Kenora. So if you need copies of these, please let us know. We will make sure to get this outreach material out into your businesses and offices. And you can also access these resources online. If you Google Grant Council Treaty 3 Two Spirit, it's the first thing that comes up. So there is just a online format of this and where you can access to us LGBT healthcare and all the resources that we do have available online. So with that being said, um, please reach out to us if you would like a copy of these. Katrina and I and Mallory put a lot of work into that. I think it was like 16, 17, 18 months of community consultation, surveying, and like emailing back and forth, trying to decide on what was actually going to go in there. So,
Yeah. It was a lot, and Jordyn was the pushing force behind it. They have so much energy to give into their community. She's awesome, amazing. Um, I do want to say we did manage to get the downloadable version of the pamphlets onto YouthLine, and that link is in the chat. So if you want to download them, you can click on the link that Vale just shared, and you will be able to access them for download there as well. If you want to print your own, maybe, or just have the PDF version available for yourself for each pamphlet. Yeah. And you can request them from us, depending on where you are.